Let's talk about the Delta plan. You offer up some very good suggestions. Storage, let's start with that. In the Delta plan, the draft, there are two recommendations regarding storage. One, finish the studies on 3 of the projects and move forward if the studies show that they're reasonable. In fact, Greg's outfit has already done one of them.
One step.
So I presume
Step one.
I presume that you agree with that. The second recommendation is to do a survey of all local water agencies to determine what potential storage projects are out there that may not make 100% local sense, but given flood protection, water supply, water quality, groundwater recharge capabilities, and a statewide interest, there might be significantly more than 1 million acre feet out there. Are you all in support of those two recommendations?
We would say that understanding what's happening at the local level is vital to the decisions confronting this council, the BDCP, and others. To get to the question of what's the right size for the conveyance project, San Diego doesn't know whether 3,000 is right. Yeah. But if you determine how much of this is real, how much of this is potential, this is your example was what's the groundwater storage or surface storage capability in the local and regional areas. This is the local supply development potential. We think it's vitally important to know the answer to both of those questions. That will inform, is it 3,000, is it 4,000, is it 5? Yeah. And it also helps understand what's affordable, because can we, even if we want to do, quote, it all, end quote, do it all, can we afford to do that?
Yeah. Well, and I just want to affirm your assertion that we need more storage, and you offer up the need for 1 million acre feet of storage south of the Delta. I would suggest that to add the flexibility that the system needs to be environmentally friendly, we need above Delta and below Delta storage. But I'm asking, is the approach that the Delta plan is proposing, do you think that's a step in the right direction and a way to get us moving down the path towards finding locations for suitable additional storage?
Yeah, I think that's quite good. And I'm just going to reiterate that, last 100 years we had 2 6-year droughts. We're not going to have fewer in the future. And you don't get through those without storage. Yeah. It's going to become more and more vital. Yeah. Either that or you give up some, uses that are terribly important to the economy.
Then in terms of habitat, your proposal would reduce the amount of habitat restoration as opposed to some of the numbers that have been tossed around. And I think in the Delta plan, we talk about habitat restoration and the need to identify those areas that serve the greatest potential for benefit and to start small and monitor and evaluate and see how it goes. Do you agree with the Delta planning approach to habitat restoration?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, I guess my point is ultimately what your proposal offers up versus what's already underway in terms of a comprehensive Delta plan is just a question about how big to build the conveyance facilities.
You've asked us to compare or to react to what's in the Delta plan.
Right.
Okay, that's different than BDCP. BDCP does not include south of Delta storage. It does include money for levees. It has what we think is more ecosystem restoration than can be achieved, or they'd have to just go out there and do it all at once and make mistakes, which is counter to what. So it seems to me the difference is not between our views and the Delta plan on these, but it may be between our joint views and where BDCP is going right now.
Right. I understand the distinction, but ultimately in the state we need more storage. Whether BDCP is successfully permitted or not, yes, we need additional storage. Mm-hmm. The one observation I can't help but make is that you don't have any agricultural interests signed on to this proposal, and I'm wondering, is the California Farm Bureau going to be coming online in support of this? Western Growers, Kern County Water Agency. I mean, do you have? Is this an urban-only proposal, or is this a proposal that's going to provide water supply reliability for all of California?
In my view, it's got to do the latter. It's got to do it for all of California, and I think it can get there, but it takes all these components. I mean, quite frankly, what you see first in the very dry years is fallowing. And people water their lawns less in the urban areas, but the real economic hit first comes in fallowing. But you're not getting more water, or a heck of a lot more water, out of this program. You're either going to have to believe that you get the computer water. We all know what paper water is, but there's computer water too, and that's where the model tells you can get something that, when you go out and look around, you just couldn't get because you didn't have a place for it. Well, it's telling you.
Have you sought the endorsement, the support of the agricultural interest?
As Randy is well aware, agricultural folks are following these closely. They tend to be a little more reserved, this is my observation, in jumping on something new. They look at it and evaluate it themselves kind of carefully. I've had discussions with major agricultural interests, some of whom have been much more open to this than urban interests, not my friend Dennis and these 7, but some have said, and they're starting by looking at 2 things, the storage and the benefits that could provide, and the cost. This is much more of a cost issue for agriculture than it is for some of our urban friends. So, that's where they stay in business or not. And when they look at the cost of a BDCP, my understanding and my private conversations are some have big questions. You've heard those as well, the people who aren't here talking about it. And so I know that some are looking at it. We're not pressing them.
Do you expect to get agricultural support for doing the analysis?
Don't know.
Okay. When we're talking about water storage, we're talking below ground as well as above ground?
Yes.
What do you think the split would be? Any idea? And that relates to cost, obviously.
Yeah, well, certainly if you go below ground, you can be less expensive, but you gotta be able to take it in quickly. So you need the off-stream storage as well.
Understood. But you haven't done that?
Yes. No, we haven't.
Mr. Cushman, you wanted to respond on that question too?
No, that's,
Okay.